You got a handout, right? Give you a little background about Isaiah. The office of a prophet was instituted during the days of Samuel, the last of the judges. So when they're talking about the last of the judges, you're talking about Jewish history. So you have who? Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. Who else? Joshua. Joshua took him to Egypt, right? Of course, you had Moses. Then you had the Exodus. Well, Joshua went to Egypt, was born, remember? He went to Egypt, right? Y'all with me? Then you had who? Then you had Exodus, Moses. Moses came out, and Joseph went to Egypt. Then you had Joshua. Joseph went to Egypt. You had Joshua, right? Took him to the what? Promised land. Then you had what? Judges came in. Judges was what? Leaders, not a judge. But they did have judges because remember when Moses came out, we talked about a couple weeks ago, his father-in-law told him, you need to relax, guy, because he was trying to judge everybody. He's wearing himself out. So they did have judges. But the judges in the history after the Joshua were leaders, because you had Samson, all them. So then after that you had Samuel. He was the last of the judges. Last of the judges. Then you had what? Saul, anointed by what? Samuel, right? Then you had Samuel anointed who? David. Y'all with me? And then you had David come in, and then what? Solomon took over. And Solomon what? After he died, the kingdom was what? Split. Then you have what? The northern kingdom fall to who? The Syrians. The Syrians fell to who? Babylonians. The Babylonians fell to who? Persia. Persia fell to who? Greeks. Greeks fell to who? Romans. And that's when Jesus Christ came on the scene. So right now, we're talking about Samuel. So after Samuel, you have what? Isaiah the prophet. And then when the kingdom split, God started calling prophets for what? The northern and southern kingdom. Okay? Isaiah is one of the prophets that has the longest books, and he talked mostly about the what? The Messiah. Y'all with me? So now we're talking about Samuel. So they give you a little background. And they say the prophet stood with the priest as God's special representative, right? The role of a prophet was to speak for God, confronting the peoples and their leaders with God's command and what? Promises. Because of their confrontational stand, true prophets usually were not very popular. The book of Isaiah is the first of the writings of the prophet in the Bible. He was the first. Now, Moses called a prophet too, but we're talking about the one God called strictly as prophets. Y'all with me? Okay. All right. He was an aristocrat home, means what? Members of a ruling class of the nobility and married to a prophetess. In the beginning of his ministry, he was well liked, but like most prophets, he soon became unpopular because of his message. He had an active ministry for 60 years before he was executed during Manasseh. And Manasseh was who? He was a what? Evil priest. He's a priest, right? Because he wouldn't do what he said do. Okay? And then the other side it says what? Manasseh was an evil priest, offered what? Isaiah freedom if he would what? Retract his prophecy of judgment. He does not and suffer martyrdom by being sawed in half. As God's special messenger to Judah, Isaiah prophesied during the reign of several of his rulers. He unfolds God's promise of future blessing through the Messiah. The northern kingdom was in decline. In decline meaning it was taken by who? The Syrians. It was in decline. Politically and spiritually. Isaiah's ministry was concentrated on the southern kingdom of Judah. But Judah was spared from destruction because what? Of this reign of godly kings, Hezekiah, who received counsel from Isaiah. They had how many godly kings, remember? 8. All right. Isaiah the prophet served during the time of both judgment and on the northern kingdom and what? The southern kingdom delivered from destruction. What are you talking about? Because of their behavior, the northern kingdom never had a good king, so they was what? Taken in captivity earlier than the southern kingdom because of the good king. Okay? All right. I need somebody to, we're going to go into verse 15. But it's not all in your lesson. Could somebody read verse 15? They start at 15b. Can you read it again, little Mike, a little louder? Okay, that's verse 15. Did y'all hear him? Okay. It said what? Truth is nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found. So this is indicating that what? Spirituality has collapsed. Moral ethics, standards is gone. Chaos, falsehood, and deceit. This is God telling him, I can't see nobody there. And he said, what else? Whoever shuns evil become a prey. So if you talked about, look, guys, y'all doing wrong. Y'all need to stop this mess. They got you. They came and got you. Either killed you or beat you. You tell us that what we're doing is wrong. So if you stood up for what was right, you became a prey. You got punished. So how you think the people reacted? Fear. None of them get beat. I'm not going to say that. You follow me? Just like when the Jews, when Hitler started killing Jews, if you watch documentaries, you see the Jews ran off the doggone truck and rode and lined up to get shot in the head. Didn't none of them try to run away? Didn't none try to run. So here come the next row. They see them getting shot, they run right up there and get shot in the head. That happened back then also. If you say something, they done something to you. So the country's in what? Chaos, fear. God wasn't there. Okay, then it said, what else it said? The Lord saw it, and it what? Displeased him that there was no judgment. He was mad with Israel because y'all ain't, y'all ain't doing nothing. You ain't helping the people. There's no judgment to what's going on evil. There's no judgment for the evil that's going on. And he was upset. He said it was displeased, right? And the Lord was displeased. And God answered displeasement with what? Lack of what? Judgment. They had nobody. They appointed nobody. Done anything. Just let it go. Just let it go. Okay, let's go to verse 16. Okay. It said, God saw that there was no man, the absence of righteousness individual who would what? Stand up for judgment or interfere with what's going on. Nobody would stand up. Mrs. God saying, I saw no one stand up. Yes, you do. Remember, there's nothing new under the sun. If you say nobody understands my position, you're an illusion. Because God said everything that you people suffering, somebody has that before. Was not nothing new. So, like then, nobody stood up. If you see something going on that's wrong, you're supposed to open your mouth to somebody. Don't sit there and don't say nothing. Because if it develops to something, you're caught in the mix. It's going to affect you. It's going to affect you. Because God said, I saw nobody, no man, that means woman too, standing up to what was going on. If it's in the church, I saw no man and woman stand up what was going on. You got to put your emotion aside and do what's right. Now, who's right? But what's right? Okay? And God said, I saw nobody stand up. Right? Then he also said what? And wondered that there was what? No one to what? Intercede. There was nobody he saw that's willing in their heart. Remember, he's looking in your heart. He saw none of them. I ain't going to say nothing. Oh, I ain't going to say nothing. Okay to say something to anybody if they're wrong. It's okay. Don't get caught up in that. I ain't going to touch God anointed. Well, first of all, is he anointed? And second of all, you ain't talking about beating him up. You just talking about communicating, agreement or disagreement. It's okay. You know why it's okay? Because all of us don't do what Jesus tells us to do. We trying to, but we know we're doing wrong. And that's Jesus. So if you see it in a man or a woman, say something. I ain't talking about beat him up. We ain't going to hell if you say something to somebody. Come on. I mean, touching my anointing mean going out there what? Talking bad. He anointed against him like a Muslim or whatever. Don't get caught up in that mix. Okay? Because God sees your heart. Christ sees your heart. Okay? And then he said what? Therefore, the arm brought him what? Salvation of his righteousness upheld him. Wow. Because there was what? No human intervention. God himself what? Intervened. Saw no human in Israel. So God himself intervened. Using what? His own power, his arm of what? Salvation. And y'all know what salvation means, right? So he saw there was no man, so God intervened himself. And he brought on salvation and perfect righteousness to accomplish it. So God said, I got to go down here and do this. Remember, before Christ came, God had to come and do things. Now, he didn't come with you because you can't see God and live. No man. If you see God's face, you dead. Because God is holy. So he come in the form of something else. That's why Moses couldn't see God's face. No man can see God's face and live except for Christ. Because he's so holy, sin just can't come to his face. All right, let's go to verse 17. Okay. Who are they talking about here? Talking about God. God said I had to put on what? So who else did you hear say that? Paul. So where do you think Paul got it from? Isaiah. 700 years later, he said it. This came from God, said, I'm a what? My righteousness as a breastplate. God protection and defense of his people against evil and justice. God said I'm putting on a breastplate. Remember God talking human. It's a metaphor. You know what I mean? God don't have to put on a breastplate. He is God. But he's talking about relating to human beings. Right? So Isaiah said God put on the what? Breastplate, right? Then he said they put on a helmet of what? Salvation. Meaning what? Deliverance. Rescue. For what? The consequences that they're in from sin. God said, I got to go down here and help these people. Because I don't see nobody else can do it. Not even what? He talking to Isaiah. He couldn't do it. He saw no man. So God said, I'm going to go down there and I got to help what? My people. Before Christ came, God was doing all this stuff. Okay? Then he said what? The garment of what? Vengeance. God has to what? The judge. Who will what? Punish those who what? Perpetrate his evil. Who's putting evil in his people. He said he's going to do what? He's going to control. And he's going to hold justice. They were messed up, wasn't they? And you think we ain't messed up? Okay. I'm talking about this planet. We're messed up too. Okay? We're messed up too. Because remember, I read Abraham because evil did prevail. That's why God destroyed the world. But he said his son come back, what? The gates of hell is not going to prevail this time. But it prevailed the first time. That's why it destroyed the world. And that's why God watching them start doing their what? Mess again. And God like, I'd so like to take a break from these people. But I got to what? Go to work. So a bishop thought he could take a break. He thought he could. But he's still involved in going out to what? Evangelizing. Doing other stuff. It goes on. Okay? Then he said, put on a cloak of zeal. God's commitment in what? His fierce love of his people. And desire for righteousness to what? Prevail. He wants his people to be doing the right thing. He's looking down and saying, I can't find nobody. What's wrong with them? I got to go down here and do this. That's pretty bad, isn't it, as human beings? That God said, I can't even sit up here and watch my creation. They put me to work. What's wrong? I can't find nobody who what? Who do the work so I can what? Sit back. Because I'm God. Okay, any questions? Go to 18.
According to their deeds, according he will repay. First to his adversary, recompense to his enemies. To the islands he will repay recompense.
So it said, according to their deeds, so will he what? Repay. God's actions are directly related to what? The actions of individuals or nations. You are individuals. Right? They all made a covenant back then, individual covenant. But we got Christ now. So what he's saying is, I'll punish you individuals, and I punish the nation because the leaders was held accountable in the Old Testament. Because remember that time that, who was it? Is Joseph? God told Joseph, the guy that hid that treasure, remember? Out the temple, he hid it in his tent. Huh? You remember? And God said, told Moses, wasn't it? Was David? Told David that this guy at address in El Paso, Texas, at address 799, Pueblo del Rio, in his upstairs, in the master bedroom, under the bed, you got that gold. And if you don't go get that joker and kill him, I'm going to wipe out half of y'all. And they wouldn't got it, remember? They killed him, his donkey, his sheep, pigeons, rabbits, anything he had, and put a memorial to it when they crossed the river, letting everybody know. Because it could have been what? More than just him. Because they didn't what? React. He told them what to do. When Christ tell us what to do, if you love me, keep my commandment. There's consequence for everything we do. Everything we do. Everything you do, there's consequences. If you think it's not, I'm wrong. If God says something, and you say something, can you back up what you say? Can you back up what you say? Son, I'm going to pick you up tomorrow. I'll be where? I'll pick you up tomorrow at 9 o'clock and I'll get you there to the airport. Okay? Can you do that? Can you? God say, boy, I'm going to take you and I'm going to take you to the airport tomorrow. I'll be there. Do you think God is not going to do it? Car may not run. You may get hit by a piece of debris falling from the sky. You may get sick. What you say, you need to always explain to somebody when you say something, if I can. The Muslims say, inshallah, God willing, I'll be there. Because you can't make a commitment. You don't know if you're going to make it. But if God says he's going to do something, what? He's in control. It's going to happen. Huh? God will. And the Muslims say inshallah, inshallah. But in the Muslim, they say inshallah, inshallah, it may not happen. They just give me an excuse when they tell them God will not be there. That means they lying. The way they use it. You know what I mean? That's the excuse. Well, you wasn't here, Holly. Well, it wasn't God will. Or y'all might hear some Hispanic folks say, what, mañana? Tomorrow? That may mean tomorrow. Okay? Okay. Let's go to verse what? 18? I'm going to read it. That's we done 18? 19? 19, I'm sorry. What 19? No. You know what? Let me finish 18. I think there's some more in there. Because it said, according to God's deed, he will what? Repay them, right? Then it said, the wrath to his adversaries, recompense to his what? Enemies. So God will respond to their what? To those who oppose him. He's going to respond to those who are going to oppose him with anger and punishment. All consequences of rebellions against him. So if you rebel against God, there's some consequences going to happen. There's some things going to happen. And then it says what? To the coastline, he will what? Render repayment. To the coastline.
So why do we rebel if we know that God is going to do something?
Because why do we do it? Because of evil in the world. Because of flesh. Because of things you want. Things you don't like. There's a sacrifice in everything you do. Flesh messed them up. Flesh messed us up. That's why he's talking about put on the whole armor of God. That means what? Pride. If you miss putting on your head plate, Satan to get that brain, have you doing something crazy. right? I got my head plate on, you got the arm exposed. Here come what? Jealousy in there. I put my glove on, I didn't put my boots on. Here you go walking to some what? I want that. I want that. The whole armor mean what? Christ, Holy Spirit. Because, and then you can what? Deny that. You can leak. Because when you've been to do something, you know you're not supposed to do that. And you keep right on. That's spirit. I'm telling you. We can't make you. But when you go to the other side, you can't say, God, can I go back and take that test again? It's over. That's why when you do it here, you better get it straight. Better get straight. And that's what God said. I don't look at all of them. I see nobody. What he's saying is what? Nobody. I don't see nobody without seeing. Because they won't even do what I asked them to do. They won't stand up. Because they what? Like us, we want to go to heaven. Who don't want to go to heaven? No, you don't want to go to heaven. You don't want to go to heaven. I can prove it. Who's taking medicine? Who's taking medicine? All right, so you don't want to go to heaven. Not right now, you don't. Huh? You tell me, I want to go to heaven. Take me, Lord. Take me. Okay. Get off that medication. Wait a minute, Lord. I'll come later, but you know what I mean? All right.
We just want to stay here so that we can, be the one to stand up and, make sure people do right. That's why we take the medicine.
Right. So when they say God judged out distant land, it's saying that what? God judged what? All the world. All the world. Remember now, back then, they thought that the world was this. Flat and also little space. They didn't know nothing about. That's why they call America the New World. And that was 1492. They called America the New World because they didn't know it existed in the world. New world. During the Roman rule, that was the known world. You had China off in the corner. Other than that, that was the world. They had some heathens back in the woods, the Gauls, who ended up taking Rome, but the world was Rome. That's just the Mediterranean. They didn't know about going outside the Mediterranean. They went to Spain and come in. They wouldn't go out there because they was afraid of monsters in the water. Even them tough Romans was scared of what? Sea monsters. You know what I mean? Like you're afraid of doing stuff. Oh, it's too dark. I ain't going in there. A devil might be in there. Well, the devil already in you, probably. The devil might be in the dark closet. Fear. So God saw that they what? He saw nobody was standing up for what was taking place. I let him do it. I let him. But when you're doing it, God gonna come down and what? Get all of y'all or just some of y'all? Because he said, I'm gonna judge what? Individual or the whole nation. The leaders acting crazy, I'm gonna get them. That's why you gotta be prayed up. You gotta be prayed up. Because this thing we in is temporary. And we all know, we look back, if we still got our mind, we look back, and we can remember 6 years old, 5 years old. It seemed like yesterday. Huh? It seemed like it, because you can still remember everything you've done. But then when you pull out your birth certificate and look at my Lord, where did it go? Because remember I remember when I was a child, Christmas was the longest thing coming. Now Christmas comes so fast, I'm like, God, can you slow it down? You know what I mean? Because before I know it, here's Christmas, got to go spend money. But when I was on the receiving end, Took long. But on the giving end, slow it down. Okay. All right, let's go to verse what? 19? All right, 19. Okay. He says, so shall they fear the name of the Lord from the west unto the what? His glory from the rising of the sun. God is saying that the world will fear me from the west to the east, the rising of the sun. The whole world shall fear me. Because when they see and hear what I've done to you, fear gonna spread. Remember? Because back then they thought that everybody, God, was restricted to their country. God said, I'm gonna reach out and touch what? This whole world that y'all live in. My fear gonna be spread through the whole world. Because when I whoop you for what you're doing, and people knew Israel had a God. When I whoop you for what you're doing, I show the world gonna what? Even them heathen gonna say, wait a minute. I'm going over to Israel right now, you know, they got a God that's hurting people. You follow me? So he said your fear, right? It means universal. Then he said, when the enemy shall come in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against them. So when the enemy come across the border, he said, whether the enemy is across the border or the enemy within, my spirit shall what? Rise up. My arms shall reach out and touch you. Because remember, God was killing people back then too. Before Jesus got God, you know, he put something on you. Okay? Because he raised a Syrian army, that was God doing that. Judgment. And then he spanked me. Israel said, why are you putting them heathens on us? He said, don't worry, I'm going to use them heathens, whoop you, spank you. And then I'm going to do what? I'm going to spank them. Because I'm God. Whether you know it or not. And then when I do it, then they're going to realize what? Their fear going to spread because that God took us in. He explained people what he's doing. Because it's in the prophets to tell them. Right? God's going to whoop you. Stop it. Like Rita said, yeah, he going to whoop us. They killed the prophet. That's right. Jesus said that. He loved Jerusalem. But he said that what? The place that kills the what? Old Jerusalem, who kills the prophets. God sending a message to them. You got time for that. Too much party going on. They partied. Okay. So if somebody, he's talking about enemies attacking as a flood, right? And God's Spirit will what? Intervene and oppose what? And defeat the enemy. God's trying to get the people right. If he's trying to get you right, there's a minute, no, you ain't coming in. I ain't letting y'all in right now. I'm trying to get my people right. Now, if they don't get right, then I'll bring y'all in. That's basically what he was doing. But if y'all come in when they doing it right, I'm going to whoop you. You ain't getting in there. And that's what he done. Because he showed that he was what? He is God. Okay? All right, let's go to verse 20. And the Redeemer shall come to Zion, and unto them that turn from transgression in Jacob, said the Lord. Now he quantum leap into the New Jerusalem, New Israel. He just jumped all the way past us. Because it said when the Redeemer come, he shipped on. When the Redeemer come, to mean what? One who will be delivered from what? Bondage. And that's talking about who is the deliverer? Jesus Christ. Not the first coming. What is Zion? Zion means Jerusalem. Remember we talked about Zion was a mountain in what? In Canaan that David conquered. And now and it became headquarters, and it referred to Zion, meaning they're talking about Jerusalem. Somebody dancing? I turned it up too loud. Oh, okay. It's all right if it don't bother y'all. Okay, so Zion, and then over the time, it spread to represent the Jewish nation. So when you watch the news, they'll use it. They say them Zion, the Zionists. They talking about who? The Jews nation when they refer to it. Because everybody in the world refer to the Jews. When they referring to Zionists, they talking about the Jews. Not the mountain anymore. They talking about the Jews. Right? Then it said Jacob. Who did Jacob refer to? What did 12 tribes come out of? Jacob. So when they refer to Jacob, they talking about the country of what? Of Israel also. Okay? Then it said we'll turn from what? Transgression. Meaning they're going to what? Repentance. Turn away from what? Sin. Receiving what? Redemption. Talking about a new heaven and earth. Y'all with me? So he just quantum leap. God took him. Okay? Yes, ma'am.
I'm having a hard time believing that Netanyahu
60,000.
or 60,000 now. But no one ever referenced. I said, Lord, have mercy on these people that he's done this trying to get to Hamas.
Well, let me tell you. Israel went through hell. They got themselves in mess, got themselves out of mess. Now, first of all, when the Romans destroyed them in 70 AD, they went to Europe for 1,800 years. Do he look like, or my grandson, look like the original people they brought over here from Africa? No. What happened?
Mixed in. They mixed in together.
Jesus wasn't white. Y'all understand this now. Jesus wasn't white. He was not black. He was what they looked like 4,000 years ago. He was dark, straight hair. He looked like an Iraqi. Where did Adam come from? Where did Abraham come out of? Iraq. You got Iraq peoples over there that still look the same way they did 3,000, 4,000 years ago. Jesus looked the way the complexion was there. You had black folks. You had them in Ethiopia. You had white folks in Europe, right? The Romans. Jesus looked like what they look like. If you go somewhere and stay there 1,800 years, you're going to marry somebody else. If everybody you marry blue, guess what color you going to turn? If they all was orange, guess what color you going to turn? You follow me? They've been in Europe, but they still had the genes, the seed of a Jew. That's why they said, go check your DNA. Tell you something else. Spain. White folks, right? Lie. No, they weren't. No, hold up. Elder, excuse me. Spain was conquered. Islam came in 700 years after Jesus Christ. 600 years after Jesus Christ. Moors, black Africans on the North Coast, became Muslims. They conquered Spain. They stayed in Spain 700 years. So what you think the Spaniards picked up? Spaniards do their DNA, they found out they got Moors in them. When Moors left Spain in 1400 Slavery kicked in 100 years later. No, 40, 50 years later. Because they discovered the new world. But Moore ran it. The universities in England was made from the Moore university they had in Spain. And they'll tell you that because their history is different with us. They brought us to America, but over there, it was different. They were the slaves. You follow me? Because the whole world brought you here. Spain, because you were their friend. You was their ruler. But then the world said, hey, we got some peoples here nobody care about running around on the coast of Africa. We can take them. And then our history got what? Can't teach them their history. You can't teach them what they had. They don't need to know because when pride come in, then you get revolt from in. Now back to the Jews. They think they're right. The Muslims think they're right. Both of them brothers. Abraham, their daddy. But the Jews, this guy, does not show no mercy. Jesus said, show mercy. He thinking the Old Testament. Kill them all. And I'm telling you what he's trying to do. If you look at it, he's trying to pull genocides in there. Because he don't level the, and them Muslim crazy, because you're going to lose 60,000 people and you got these clowns still holding 100 people hostage. And if you let them go, the Jews have to stop because the world will say, they let them go. Back off. As long as you keep them, I'm going to tear your tail up. When I get through, you ain't going to have a place to live. If you have a baby, it's going to be outside. You don't have nowhere to go, do nothing. Genocide. Because if I whoop on you for the next generation, where are they going to have kids at? Where are they going to have kids? You ain't going to be in no shape to have kids. So a generation might disappear. And that'll keep the Jews happy for another what? 60 years. I'm telling you, world ain't changed. Same back then. This Binyana is going to, he want to get rid of them. This ain't nothing new. So that's what's happening. Is he a Jew? Yeah, he's a Jew. But he's not showing no mercy. And the people's over there messed up too. The devil got us messed up. He ain't just in America. He got them messed up. And it's really sad. It's sad that, and the Jews warned them. I'll tell you what the Jews told them. They said, you people in suits better do something to them peoples in a uniform. Because if they come over here and do something to us in uniform, and because you didn't kill them 50 people versus what? 2 million y'all. If you didn't kill them, I'm going to destroy y'all. And guess what? They let them come across the border, take what? 150 people hostage? And they don't destroy, how many? Destroy the whole country that they lived in, the whole, not the country, but the whole area. And over 60,000 of them don't die. 20,000 kids. And they still won't do nothing about them holding on what? 50 more hostages. And Israel say, keep them. That's my excuse. That's how the devil deals with us. That's my excuse, come in. And now British talking about recognizing, that's going to cause another mess. That's going to cause another mess. That's going to cause more wars and bring up, it's going to be a mess. That's why we need Christ. And God said, I'll get you individually or I'll get you by nation. You stay in Christ no matter what's going on. Okay? No matter what's going on. I hope that answers your question. Didn't God say I'll punish a nation or I'll punish an individual? When you know what's right, when you know what's wrong. Who's standing up to it? That means nation and an individual. Didn't it say that? God said I get the nation or the individual. That means the nation when they doing this corrupt stuff, and then the individual when you letting this stuff go on too. Okay, you all with me? Well, that's why God can't find nobody that could do it. Okay? Let's go to verse what? Last verse, 21? Somebody read 21, please. So you see how he went forward, okay? 21. Want me to read it? As for me, this is my covenant with them, said the Lord. My spirit that is upon thee, and my words which I have put in thy mouth shall not depart out of thy mouth, nor out of the mouth of thy seed, nor out of the mouth of thy seed, said the Lord, from henceforth forever. That means in the time been wiped out. New heaven and new earth. What been in y'all put in your heart, you're going to worship me for what? Now it's a new Jerusalem, new heaven, new earth. You shall worship me for what? Not 60 years. He said what? Forever. That means the second coming of Christ. That means, because remember, when Christ comes, he's going to pull up all the people. He ain't come to earth, remember? He's going to pull you up to the sky. Then when he come to earth, he's going to rule. So Isaiah jumped all the way to the future. Didn't he? Because he said forever. That means what? God said, I put in what? Your mouth. Written in you. Because he said what? God covenant is a binding agreement, right? That means a promise. God said it. God can't lie. So whatever God say, it's going to happen. Because he's God. Don't ever think you see all this evil. God is in control. Because if he ain't in control, he wouldn't be God. Everything goes on. He's in control. It's for a time. Because he's not bound by time. We are. We let him in. A man let him in. Adam and Eve. And a man took him out. That's Jesus. And then when they come back and have their battle, God is in control. Don't never think God was in control. Because when Jesus said, now, all power from heaven and earth I have. And remember, when he went to be tempted, he was always tempted, but he went to be tempted by the big boy. What he beat him with? I ain't got to argue with you. Yeah, no, he said what? It is written. I always told the number one devil, it is written. He no argue with him. You know why I say it's written? Because I was right there and the Father wrote it. We wrote it together. It's written. And plus, devil, the world going to be mine anyway. But the devil will play on you. He'll play on you. That's why one thing we should do is ask our brother and sister, and when you do it, you gotta accept and be honest. If I'm doing something wrong, tell me. Because a true friend will tell you. A person, I ain't gonna cause you might know you ain't no friend. You tell me. And then they tell me that I'm wrong. I can't say, well, I saw you doing something. No, that ain't what you asked for. You asked them to tell you, shut your mouth, and accept it. Because we're supposed to be taking care of one another. Even in this church right here. We're supposed to take care of one. When we say our brother and sister doing something wrong, we're supposed to, I got to accept it. Y'all come tell me, CECIL, you're crazy. You done something wrong. And I got to say, what did I do, man? Because sometimes we don't see ourselves. Well, a lot of times we don't see ourselves. Well, a lot of times, we really don't see ourselves. Because you can have the other person in you, that devil, ain't no person, but it can be leading you, and you really don't see it. You don't see it. The Holy Ghost will tell you, but you can ignore it. Okay? All right, then it said what? Because I'm going to go a few minutes because they took a few minutes from earlier. And I can do that now.
All right, Elder, we're right.
Just a little. Just a little. All right. And then it said what else? His enduring word. Remember, God said what? I'm going to place in your mouth what? And all your descendants. That means all the kids that's born. So that means people are going to be born. Right? And then he said what else? Guidance. Meaning what? The Spirit of God is going to guide you. You ain't got to be asking for it. It's going to be what? There. Because the devil's going to be what? Gone. That's why When you say everything, like right now you got the gift for this, the gift for that, the gift for this, that, you need it now. But when God come back, when Jesus come back the next time, what you need a gift for? Devil gone. He's here. The gift gonna be it ain't no gift. We all there together. Okay? And then it said future generations. And that's a promise God made, right? Because when he says something, he can't go against his word because he's what? He's God. So what he's saying is a fact. So when you see me doing something crazy, I'm asking you, don't do it out in public. You know what I mean? Because you already identify I got a problem, so don't do it out in public. Because something might spike up in me. You know what I mean? Put them to the side. CECIL, you're wrong, man. And I'm asking y'all to tell me. You're wrong. And because I've been told before, I went upstairs and boy. But I had to accept it because my wife was involved in it too. You're wrong. I had to eat it. It was hard, but we'll get over it if we try to do the right thing. Right? Okay? But you don't tell me on Christmas. Once a year, you got to get me. Y'all got to tell me all the time. And if you want me to tell you, I'm going to tell you if I think some of you. But you can't beat up on me when I tell you because you asked. Okay? So I'm asking y'all. If I do something wrong, you got to let me know. Because I may not see it. Okay? All right. That concludes Sunday School for today. Any questions? None? All right.